Hello students, in this video, let's summarize class 10 science chapter life processes. What are life processes? Life processes refer to the fundamental activities carried out by an organism to sustain its existence, aiding in its maintenance and overall survival. To illustrate life processes, consider the following example. All living things are composed of cells, which are in turn made up of molecules. For a cell to be considered alive, it must undergo continuous repair and maintenance. This maintenance requires a constant supply of new molecules and the removal of unwanted ones. These vital activities are collectively known as life processes. The four key life processes are nutrition, respiration, excretion, and transportation. Let's discuss each of the life processes individually. Nutrition is the fundamental process by which living beings obtain the energy and necessary substances they require from the food they consume. It's important to note that different organisms have unique methods of acquiring their food. Autotrophic nutrition. Plants follow autotrophic nutrition, which means they make their own food. They create food using simple inorganic materials like water, carbon dioxide, and sunlight, with a process known as photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the vital process through which plants prepare their food. It occurs within the leaves of plants. The specific location for photosynthesis is within chloroplasts, that are green-colored structures found in leaf cells. Raw materials for photosynthesis: carbon dioxide, water and sunlight. Carbon dioxide enters the leaf through small pores called stomata located on the leaf's underside. Water is absorbed by the plant's roots from the soil. Sunlight exposure is crucial as it provides the necessary energy for photosynthesis. Steps in photosynthesis. Step 1. Chlorophyll molecules are activated by sunlight. Step 2. Activated chlorophyll split water into hydrogen and oxygen. Step 3. Hydrogen generated in Step 2 is used to reduce carbon dioxide into glucose. Plants also require nitrogen to produce proteins for growth. Heterotrophic nutrition. Heterotrophic nutrition is a way of getting food where organisms depend on other living things to survive. These organisms use different ways to get their food, depending on where they live and what's available. To understand this better, we will first look at how single-celled creatures like amoeba eat, and then we will explore how humans get their nutrition. Heterotrophic nutrition in amoeba. Amoeba utilizes temporary finger-like extensions of its cell surface to surround and engulf food particles, creating a food vacuole. Within the food vacuole, complex food substances are broken down into simpler ones, which then diffuse into the cell's cytoplasm. Any undigested material is later moved to the cell's surface and expelled. Heterotrophic nutrition in human beings. Heterotrophic nutrition in human beings involves obtaining food from external sources. Food enters the body through the mouth and follows a complex digestive journey through the alimentary canal. In the mouth, food undergoes mechanical breakdown by teeth and is mixed with saliva. Saliva is a watery fluid. Not only softens food but also contains salivary amylase, an enzyme that partially digests sugars. Food travels through the esophagus to reach the stomach. Esophageal muscles contract automatically, facilitating food movement. The stomach, a large muscular organ, thoroughly mixes food with digestive juices secreted by gastric glands present in its walls. These juices consist of pepsin, a protein-digesting enzyme, hydrochloric acid, creating an acidic environment for pepsin, and mucus, protecting the stomach lining. A sphincter muscle at the stomach's end gradually releases food into the small intestine. The small intestine, highly called to maximize absorption, receives pancreatic juice, intestinal juices, and bile juice. These fluids contain various enzymes like trypsin, lipase, etc. Enzymes break down fats into smaller droplets, create an alkaline environment for digestion, and convert carbohydrates into sugars, proteins into amino acids, and fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Villi, that are finger-like projections in the lining of small intestine, facilitate the absorption of nutrients into the bloodstream. The large intestine absorbs water from undigested material. An absorbed residue is excreted through the anus. Respiration. Cellular respiration is a complex biological process that starts with the acquisition of nutrients, including glucose, during the process of nutrition. The primary purpose of cellular respiration is to release the stored energy within glucose, which can be used by cells for various functions. Aerobic respiration. Some organisms require oxygen for this process, which is known as aerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration. In contrast to aerobic respiration, some organisms can perform respiration without oxygen, known as anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration yields a greater amount of energy compared to anaerobic respiration. However, aerobic respiration relies on a continuous supply of oxygen. Respiration in plants and animals. Plants possess stomata, which enable them to exchange gases with the atmosphere. Animals have specialized respiratory organs that facilitate the intake of oxygen from their surroundings. Breathing in human beings. Breathing is an integral part of the respiration process. It enables organisms, including humans, to obtain essential oxygen from their surroundings. Human respiratory system. Human beings possess a well-developed respiratory system designed for efficient oxygen extraction. The system is composed of various interconnected components, nostrils and nasal passage. The respiratory process begins with a pair of nostrils. Nostrils are equipped with fine hairs that function as filters to capture dust particles. The nasal passage serves to humidify incoming air, making it suitable for the respiratory system. Throat and windpipe. Air progresses from the nasal passage to the throat before entering the lungs. The windpipe, or trachea, divides into bronchi, which further branch into bronchioles. Alveoli, the site of gas exchange. The respiratory system's culmination occurs in small, balloon-like structures known as alveoli. Alveoli are richly supplied with blood vessels, facilitating efficient gas exchange. Carbon dioxide, transported by the blood from various parts of the body, is released into the alveoli. Meanwhile, the air within the alveoli is oxygen-rich. Gas exchange and transport. Gas exchange transpires between the alveoli and the blood via a straightforward diffusion process. Hemoglobin, a red pigment in the blood, binds with oxygen and acts as a carrier for its transportation. Carbon dioxide, produced as a waste product, is typically dissolved in the blood for removal. Transportation. Transportation is a crucial life process responsible for moving materials essential for nutrition, respiration, and excretion throughout the human body. Let's understand the transportation in human beings and plants. Transportation in human beings. Components of the human transport system. The human transport system comprises the heart, blood vessels, and blood. The heart functions akin to an electric pump, propelling blood through the blood vessels, much like water through pipes. The heart's role. The heart is a muscular organ with 4 chambers, approximately the size of a human fist. It performs 2 distinct functions, like collecting deoxygenated blood from the body and sending it to the lungs, right atrium and right ventricle. Collecting oxygenated blood from the lungs and distributing it to body parts, left atrium and left ventricle. Remarkably, the heart adeptly handles both functions simultaneously. Heart action in detail. When the left atrium and right atrium relax, they perform their respective tasks. The left atrium collects oxygenated blood from the lungs. The right atrium receives deoxygenated blood from the body. As they contract, the left ventricle and right ventricle expand to receive the blood. Subsequently, when the left ventricle contracts, it propels oxygenated blood into the body. The right ventricle contracts in its turn, sending blood to the lungs for oxygenation. Double circulation. In higher animals like birds and mammals, the four-chambered heart effectively keeps oxygenated and deoxygenated blood separate. This circulation of blood through the heart occurs twice, once between the heart and lungs, and then between the heart and body parts. Hence, this circulation is termed double circulation. Blood vessels in the human body include arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arteries have thick and elastic walls to withstand pressure from the heart, carrying oxygenated blood from the heart to various body parts. Veins collect deoxygenated blood from different body parts and return it to the heart, featuring valves to maintain one-directional blood flow. Capillaries are thin vessels branching from arteries to supply materials to cells. They merge into veins on the other end. Blood clotting and platelets. In cases of blood vessel injury, platelets present in the blood migrate to the site of leakage to form a temporary plug. Subsequently, a series of events culminates in permanent blood clotting, preventing further leakage. Plants get what they need for survival in two ways. They make their own food in their green leaves using sunlight. But they also have to get important stuff from the ground through their roots. Plants don't need a lot of energy because they can't move like animals. But big trees have a problem because they are so tall. Plants have two systems for moving things around, one for energy from leaves and one for raw materials from roots. Xylem is like a plant's water highway. It takes water and minerals from the ground to all parts of the plant. Roots suck up minerals and create pressure, pushing water up. When leaves lose water, it helps this process. Phloem is the plant's food delivery system. It moves the stuff made in the leaves, like sugars, around the plant. It also carries other things like amino acids. Unlike xylem, phloem needs energy and help from special cells. Increased osmotic pressure in the tissue drives material movement to meet plant needs. Excretion. As part of their metabolic activity, cells produce nitrogenous compounds, such as urea and uric acid, which poses inherent toxicity and need to be eliminated. Getting rid of waste in humans. Waste substances like urea and uric acid are carried in our blood. They travel through the blood to our excretory system for removal. Our excretory system has two kidneys, two ureters, a bladder, and a urethra. Kidneys do the real work. They have tiny units called nephrons. Each nephron has capillaries and a Bowman's capsule. In the Bowman's capsule, blood gets filtered. Bad stuff like urea and uric acid, along with water, gets separated. Good stuff like glucose and amino acids stays in the blood. The mix of water and waste in the kidney becomes urine. Storing and getting rid of urine. Urine goes to the bladder through the ureters. When the bladder is full, you feel the need to pee. Overall, this video covers the fundamental life processes that are crucial for the survival and well-being of living organisms. Also, you can learn this chapter through NCERT solutions, NCERT exemplars, and revision notes, which are available in the EduRev app.